Tomorrow's critical presidential primaries. A few thoughts tonight on the Republican establishment, made up, of course, of the Chamber of Commerce, Business Roundtable, the Koch brothers, dozens of other billionaires and wealthy donors, the Bush family, and whoever happens to be in the GOP leadership in the House and the Senate. They've all made a mess of this election cycle, don't you think? None of their designated or anointed candidates have been able to compete with the political phenomenon that is Donald Trump. First, Scott Walker appeared to be the standard bearer for the establishment. Then the mantle fell to Jeb Bush, who fell himself and could never get back up. Then Marco Rubio, who seemed to melt before our very eyes. And now the next man up is John Kasich. But he's built his campaign around being a Democrat, embracing free trade no matter the cost and job losses for working men and women in Ohio, amnesty for illegal immigrants no matter the cost to working men and women in Ohio and taxpayers. But he's in trouble too, and who else would be sent in to rescue him but Mitt Romney, who's taken the lead in attacking Donald Trump, hitting the campaign trail today with Kasich. The tentacles of the Bush family also extending through the primaries. Establishment family emissary Jeb Bush last week meeting with Kasich and Rubio and Cruz in what looks like a desperate effort to broker power and organize and take out Donald Trump at any cost. President George W. Bush last month hit the trail for Jeb in a last-ditch effort to keep the family in the race, and now Brother Neil has joined Ted Cruz's finance team. But this is a year of the outsider in presidential politics, and among Trump's many advantages is the fact he's the only outsider in either party. And all the polls show that he will do very well tomorrow. He's in position, depending on the turnout of the Trump forces, to sweep another Super Tuesday. What many of the political gurus have failed to note is that Trump, a political novice, has set the Republican primary agenda from the very day he entered the race. And that isn't likely to change, even if he were not to do as well tomorrow as most of us expect. I would hope all elements of the GOP, particularly the establishment, would set aside their differences and come together with all the candidates and unite behind Donald Trump. Trump has been smarter, stronger, shrewder, and more energetic than all his opponents and the Washington cabal to boot. Trump aligned himself with middle-class Americans, working men and women. He did so consciously, and uncomfortable as the establishment may be with it all, Trump looks to be the very kind of leader we need in these troubled times. The voters will decide much of that tomorrow. Our quotation of the evening, perhaps my very favorite quote of all on leadership, by Alexander the Great, and it fits our time nicely. Alexander said, quote, "I am not afraid of an army of lions led by a sheep. I am afraid of an army of sheep led by a lion."